Put it on, girl. Let me see it. Put it on, girl. Let me see it.
Hey, informers. Welcome to Accidentally Informed, where we keep you in the know, accidentally or not. I'm Erica Cobb, and my fabulous co-host, Claudia Jordan, is out today. We needed to give her a little bit of a break, okay? I was a little scared that she was going to end up in like a Sparkle situation where she like completely collapsed from exhaustion. She's been working a lot, but do not worry because we have one of our favorites filling in. So please welcome back to the show, DJ Richie Skye.
Hey.
Hey, Richie, how are you?
I'm good. You know, it has been a day. It has been a day.
What is it? Is it the residual from the 11/11 energy, or that's how I'm feeling?
The people are saying Mercury is in retrograde, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because 11/11, I don't know if y'all were feeling this yesterday, but my vibrations in my body, like I just felt like I was like this all day. And all of these things were happening, like really great things, like positive things. But you know, like your body doesn't really know the difference sometimes between like I'm excited and I'm in fear for my life.
It's like drowning in a sea of opportunity.
I love that.
That's the feeling sometimes. You know, it's kind of like that fearful, like, oh, there's a lot going on, but can I do it all? I think it's that.
Yeah, but you know, I think it's important since you're drowning still to learn to be in flow.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't feel so panicked about it and don't fight against what's happening. Just go with it.
Exactly.
Love it.
You always got the answers.
I'm just a talker. I'm going to talk it out until we get somewhere. And then we're like, oh, okay, that's where we're going with it. Cool.
Yeah, and I'm good for giving you the feeling.
Yeah,
I can give you the feeling. I ain't worked all the way through it yet, but I like it. I like it.
I love that. Well, I love that you are here. Thank you so much for joining me and the informers. Informers, we have a lot to get to today, from rumors about Wendy Williams to Vivica A. Fox calling out 50 Cent again. But first, we're going to look at a spicy new docuseries about a Real Housewife. Or actually, no. We're going to talk, not first. We're going to talk about that when we get to like more Housewives news. I'm so sorry. I just got to get in flow. Okay. So first up, Wendy Williams has officially been cleared of having dementia. Reports say the court-appointed guardianship might soon be reevaluated, and fans are wondering if Wendy could finally be making her comeback. So if Wendy really is healthy and ready, should she return to TV or stay out of the spotlight? Richie, what are your feelings about all of this?
Ooh, I didn't know you were going to go there first. You know, that's a good question. I don't know if a full return to television is or should be in the works, but I do think that there's something to be said for the fact that Wendy is technically a celebrity. Yes, she is a talk show host. Yes, you know, she's been listened to, beloved by millions. I'm still upset that the old episodes are not on YouTube anymore, but we'll talk about that another day. But I feel like she's still so well known that she has that celebrity spotlight. So I don't think she'll ever completely fade away from the spotlight, because we know that she loves it. We know that she still thrives on that. When you see her making those personal appearances, well, not personal appearances, but those appearances in public, and people are crowding around her, you can tell she is literally lapping that up and enjoying it. But why would she not? She's been on lockdown for 3 years.
Right.
Doesn't it feel like she's been held prisoner just a little bit?
I agree with everything that you're saying. And yeah, she has been held prisoner. And I think that it was very intentional. The idea that the narrative is somehow going to turn from Wendy Williams has early onset dementia to she's been cleared of any symptoms of dementia would literally make her the only person in the history of ever to be cleared of dementia that we know of. So
Mm.
it's really suspect from straight out the gates. It appears quite a reasonable thought that all of this was done in order to give these people and Sabrina Morrissey, who was in charge of her guardianship, the ability to keep her in captivity. Like, it's insane that this is what is being reported. Now, obviously, this is being reported by TMZ. I think TMZ has earned their credibility in that way. So I'm tending to believe it. Also, we know that Wendy called Claudia. We talked about that on the show a few months ago, and Claudia was talking about how sound and healthy Wendy actually sounded. So it appears that all of this is exactly what we were speculating it was. It was all a lie in order to keep her away from her money and her
Mm.
power.
Mm. So I have a real question though. What do you make of the previous docu-series that we saw in her sort of state when she was in those? Do you think that they in any way, shape, or form kind of informed what the Guardian was or legitimized the Guardian's claims that, oh, this something is going on with her. Something is clearly off with her. This legitimizes what we've been doing. And I
Mhm.
feel like personally, I feel like it helped them keep her in that captivity. It almost feels like that was justified then.
Yeah, I think the docuseries didn't I think it mostly didn't do her any favors because I agree with you. We were all like, there's something not quite right here. But here's the issue. We know that Wendy has been sober now, and she clearly wasn't sober when that docuseries was being filmed. So we're not clear on exactly what that sobriety is from, and
Mm.
it could be have been a multitude of things that would have her acting in an erratic way. She
Right.
clearly was around some people who had access to her were enabling and then using her in a way that was only beneficial to them. So seeing her sober and lucid kind of goes against what we knew to be, the report on if she had dementia or not. But on another spectrum, I think that it also helped her to stay in the conversation,
Yeah.
because if she was just locked away for all this time and we didn't hear about
We
her,
wouldn't have known.
right, her Q1 day one fans have been, in an uproar. They've been keeping a lot of smoke for the situation, which is great. But other people, if you're out of the news cycle, then people aren't thinking about you. So I think it got her back to being top of mind for us all.
So then that leads me to another question then is for those of us who are fans of hers and we think back to that period of time where she was doing the docuseries and we kind of wonder if the people around her were the best people to be there.
Mhm.
I would love to know from you, and I think also to love to hear at some point from Claudia, for somebody as someone who has spoken to her, like, what do we do or what does Wendy do to keep the right people around her at this point in time? And how do you decipher who those people are?
Yeah, that's a great question. Don't a lot of people need to have that question answered. Let's keep it all the way 100.
Oh,
Yes, yes, because when you have a light like Wendy Williams, then you aren't just attracting positive energy, you're attracting vampire energy
mm,
as well. People are looking to see how they can use you in order to level up. So I mean, at this point, we know that she has an attorney. I forget the attorney's name, but she was just at his son's wedding and there's a photo of them. And hopefully, because it seems like her niece, I can't remember what her niece's name was, but she did make an appearance in the documentary, but she made an appearance almost as if to be like, I don't know what's happening here, but I'm
mm,
going to step in. She seems to be someone who is 100%, just devoted to making sure that her aunt gets healthy and gets the
yeah,
help that she needs. So if we're taking all of these other players out who are only benefiting from her being in captivity, as we're saying, then perhaps there's been a new form that's planned, maybe a board or something like that, where one person doesn't have absolute power over everything. Because I think it's going to take her a minute to get her footing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it goes to having a team in general as a celebrity, but I just feel like it almost needs to be very specific in this instance because eh, there's a lot of money at play here and there's a lot at stake. There's a lot that she would have to also, I guess, go to her family as well. So how do we know who those players are? That's just the question that I'm left with.
Yeah. First of all, her niece's name is Alex Finney, who I believe is, and she's a journalist. Um, yeah, I so here's going back to what we were talking about before. What I'd like to see Wendy do is have her team or her board create an asset for her that she has primary ownership over, because Wendy doesn't need a network. Wendy
No.
is the network. So wherever she chooses to create an asset that, one, is balanced and aligned with how much work she can actually put forward and aligns with her schedule, her health, things that, if it's once a week type thing, a couple times a week, it doesn't have to be a daily thing, because doing a daily talk show, as someone who did a 50-week talk show for 7 years, is a huge haul, and it takes a lot to get through that. And I don't know if Wendy's in that space right now.
Ugh. I agree. I agree 100%. I mean, there's a part of me that would love to hear her on a podcast, something where we could hear her voice,
Mhm.
and it's not necessary. And I know that there's an element of Wendy, I feel, that still wants to be seen and wants to have that connection with the audience. But I think now we would just take anything as long as we felt like she was healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And also being generous, like, if she does anything, she's being super generous, because Wendy doesn't really have to. But I also agree with what you said earlier in terms of, like, she loves the spotlight and the spotlight loves her. So we're wishing her well. We're following the story. And when Claudia returns, we'll see if she has any more intel, because Claudia always has some tea.
Oh, I know.
All right. Next up, Vivica A. Fox called out her ex 50 Cent in a recent video, and 50 wasted no time clapping back. Take a look at what she said.
Don't date 50 Cent and don't date no damn rappers. Facts. Yes. See, I can wait. Just so you know, it took me years to be able to laugh about it. Right. I had to learn to laugh, not to cry no more. But I did it.
Well, 50 responded saying this on social media. Either way, I'm a have that ass as the Matrix. I love me some you, girl, but damn, it's been 22 years, Vivica. So do you think there's still unfinished business?
Can I just say that made me feel so old? Like 22 years ago? I think interesting. This is so interesting to me because there's a part of me that's like, oh, girl, no, he is the type. There are certain people that you just don't evoke their names because they are going to appear like a
Mhm.
genie out of a bottle. So he's one of those people. So for me, I just kind of think, girl, why would you even mention his name? But I also feel like if that's her truth, that's her truth. It- there may be feelings from her, but I don't think there's feelings from him. I don't even know if there were feelings from him at the time.
Oh, wow.
I just don't. I just feel like it almost felt to me like when we go back to that period of time, she was more invested and hurt by the situation than maybe he was, and maybe he was, I don't know, playing with her or just enjoying their time together in a very light way, and maybe she took it a bit more serious, or maybe he led her to believe it was more serious because we know that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that we all have, like, a pain point in our life, whether it's a person that we had a romantic relationship with, a friendship that blew up, a business relationship. Like there's that one thing that no matter like what else happens, our brains will just revisit that and try to like reanalyze it. And then we get like stuck on it. Therapy is important for things like that. And I'm not saying that Vivica needs to go to therapy or she's not in therapy, but to work out what that truly is about. Because from my purview, which knowing nothing, when a woman is, or a man is continuously bringing up a past relationship in that way, it's generally about the way that you made them feel in contradiction with something that they truly believed fundamentally about themselves. So in this situation, and again, this is just how I'm seeing it. But in this situation, Vivica was and is like Vivica is an icon. So she has that it girl thing. And when you're an it girl and you are treated as if you're pedestrian in some way, I think that it takes something out of you to be like, well, why and how did I do all of this and get here only to be treated like this by you in public? Like,
I am so using that. I was treated pedestrian. No, absolutely not. No, you won't treat me pedestrian. Like you know what? That is coming with me today. Okay, I just got to let you know that.
Great.
First of all, I got to let you know that. But I have another question then. Okay, because let's say she does. Anybody, any of us, we have that sticking point, right? We go to therapy. Does the therapy get rid of it being a sticking point?
I don't know if the therapy gets rid of it being a sticking point, but I do think that therapy is a way to examine what lies beneath the betrayal, what lies beneath the shock value. You know, like, is it that this was the first time that you were this public with someone that public in this way? Did you truly believe that this was going to be your happily ever after? You invested everything into it? Did you lose money because of, like, or other resources? Like, there's always something that's kind of playing underneath it. And it's not necessarily what you're saying. Maybe you don't even know what that something is. That's what I'm saying therapy could be helpful for, to get to that, like, what is this really about after 22 years?
That is deep. That is very deep.
I'm just kind of like, because I started realizing, like, on a personal note, that I am very cyclical when it comes to interpersonal relationships. I will get the same type of spirit, and every time it ends up the same. So, and I used to say all the time, like, I don't ever want to go through that again. I don't want to feel like that again or be put in that position. But then it happens again. And I think it keeps happening until you're like, oh, let me activate my pattern recognition here. I'm going to stop it here because I already know what's coming. Like, I don't even have to replay this movie anymore. And a big part of that was, shout out to my therapist, Spirit. I was like, I don't want to do this. And if you say you don't want to do, you won't tolerate what you hate. So you gotta, like, figure out what it is. What is that thing that keeps coming to you because it's trying to get you to do different next time?
You know what? I might need some therapy. I might. I mean, because my thing is, I don't let people in general. I keep everybody at a distance, even my close friends. So, and I haven't determined what that's about. So I might need some therapy too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like your bestie, only that you don't know anything about. Because they're not your friend. They're your therapist. I understand that.
Good point. Good point. They're not reciprocating.
Right. Right. You're listening to Accidentally Informed. I'm Erica Cobb, joined by DJ Richie Skye, who is filling in for Claudia today. Okay, listen, I sent you a DM being like, will you be at BravoCon? And you're like, no. Which is okay. I won't hold you on it. But it does kick off on Friday. I'm actually going to be attending. I am meeting Claudia there. So we wanted to dive into some housewife stories because TLC just dropped the first look at their explosive 3-part docuseries called The Cult of the Real Housewives. It digs into Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Mary Cosby and the church who she shares with her husband, Robert. Take a look.
You married your grandpa, and that's it.
I absolutely believe that Mary and Robert are running a cult.
In the eyes of the Faith Temple Church, she is God.
So the premiere date is Thursday, January 1st. Richie, I know you have some thoughts on this, so I'll just give you the floor.
I'm going to let you know. I was like, why? Why is this happening right now? She's having such an amazing season. For those of you who are watching the show, and even if you're not, I'm just going to give you this disclaimer. She is having an amazing season. The past few seasons, I feel like Mary has just blossomed. But I also feel like that's because she trusts the cast, and I feel like she trusts the production team a lot more. And now I just fear, I'm like, is this going to set her back? And I know I'm being selfish because I'm thinking about my enjoyment. I readily I accept that. I promise you guys, I understand it. Don't come at me in the comments. If you're going to talk about the people that may have been affected in this documentary, listen, I don't know about those people yet. But what I do know is my enjoyment.
I hear you. I hear you. And as a Housewives fan and a Bravo-holic, I find this to be interesting but predictable.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice around this time of the year, right ahead of BravoCon, we get some big bombshell news about someone in the Bravo sphere, because they are dropping it when the most eyeballs and interests are going to be around these Bravo celebrities. And so I can't remember if it was The Hustler and The Housewife. There was something that dropped ahead of, there's always a big something that drops. So this year, this is the something. And I agree with you. When Mary first came on, well, when the show first premiered, a lot of people watched because the headline was there's a woman on there who married her step grandfather. Like, that's a sentence that we don't hear very often. So she was a catalyst for a lot of eyeballs on the show in the very beginning. And I agree with you. There's been this evolution of her as a character. Now, are we going to separate her as a character on the show from who she is in real life? We tended not to do that with the Jen Shaw of it all. You know, her taking money from elderly people. So I don't know how that's going to pan out for her, but I know it's going to be the talk of BravoCon.
Okay, so I want to go back though. Like at the beginning, it's just like you said, we were watching this. A lot of us, we got eyes on this show because of that headline. At the time when the show came out for that first and that second season, a lot of the focus was on her marriage, and her church.
Mhm.
So I guess the reason I feel so like, oh, right now is because for those of us who have been indoctrinated with this show, we've already gone through all this.
Right.
We have heard it all. We have done the deep dives. They even brought someone on the show who was from the church who had an issue. And I don't know if that person is going to be in the documentary, but to me, I'm like, why are we rehashing this? We already know this. I mean, maybe there's something new, but still, like, we already knew this. We were already, where y'all been? TLC, where have y'all been? Y'all late to the party. We knew this.
It is true, though. It's very true. Like, we've deep dived the situation. I just listened to the Bravo docket last week. They dropped an episode about Mary and the church. What I found to be interesting about the Bravo docket, and that was the part one, and then there's a part two, and there are two attorneys. So they were just reading and explaining what's on the docket, what's on the
I
case
love them, by
filing.
the way.
So good. You get so much information. But what I found, did you listen to that episode?
I did not, but I am now.
Yes, listen, because I found it interesting. It doesn't give an indictment of the situation either way. What they're bringing up is churches and religious institutions in general. They bring up the Church of Latter-day Saints, which of course is the Mormon, that's the entire community around them. And it's like a $2 trillion that, like, I think Church of Latter-day Saints has more than the Catholic Church when it comes to what the assets are, not the totality of how much it's worth, but what the assets are within the church. Because what they're talking about is that Mary and Robert and whoever else is in on this are the owners of several for-profit businesses. But you know who else has that model? The Church of Latter-day Saints. They own all of these for-profit businesses. And this is a model that people have supported. So in some ways, I don't know if Mary is doing anything differently than what these other institutions have been doing all along, or if she's just following their model. Now, if she's scamming people and taking money from, innocent victims who don't know what's going on, that's a separate conversation. But in terms of the model of the church and the business, I'm not about to indict someone over here when we have a whole list of situations in other examples.
I just think that when you get into the whole religious space, it becomes a very complicated topic in terms of finances and what people are willing to give and what churches or pastors may ask for. Because we've heard of lock the doors, nobody leaves until, you give this X amount of money. And so once we hear about these things, to me, they kind of become the norm because we're used to giving our tithes to church. We're used to giving our offerings to church. We understand a little bit about where that money goes, but not fully, right? So if the church, as you're stating, Christine, is being used as a vehicle for grifting, then that's a different thing, right? But how do you prove that?
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the thing. It's a strange situation because this is they seem to be legitimate business dealings, but to have it owned by the church, let me see, TV MVB says it can be both. I think that it gets a little convoluted because are we talking about the business side? Are we talking about a grifter side? How does that work? Not paid by anyone says that person actually passed on, the one who you were referring to who was in the episode. He passed, and I do remember that. I think in between filming for the season, after the season that he was on.
That's right.
So they had that, I think, on the premiere episode of the following season. Thank you, informers. I'm trying to get to some of your comments, and shout out to Anthony Buchanan, who is our moderator. You are doing such a great job. All right, let's move on to another topic because things are heating up between Keiarna and Gizelle on Real Housewives of Potomac. Here's a clip.
I'm very upset about Gizelle. She didn't even reach out to me. She didn't call me. And it was never hate. It was more like, I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I vocalized that to her in New York 2 years ago. I hadn't heard from Gizelle about the event, which I was surprised, Gizelle. Gizelle and I hashed all of this out. So the fact that we're sitting here and talking about this is absurd to me. Where the hell did that even come from?
So what were your feelings about this boat trip? Because obviously we heard Keiarna's side, and what they were kind of talking around was that she was assaulted and she didn't feel like Gizelle was supporting her, but Gizelle lost her father pretty much immediately after Keiarna was assaulted.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, when two friends are going through something simultaneously, what is the expectation for showing up for one another?
Oh, I think this is a two-part thing, right? Because I think that there was something said in the episode about Gizelle feeling like Keiarna was the actual aggressor in the assault.
Mm,
So if Gizelle felt that way, then she would probably be a little less inclined to be sensitive to what Keiarna is going through, because she may have felt, well, you put yourself in that situation. I am dealing with something that is life or death with my family.
mm.
And just as someone who recently lost his father in the past year,
I'm
I can tell
sorry.
you, I thank you. I can tell you, you are not the same. You don't know what is going on. Like, it is like living in a nightmare. That's the only way that it. And I told somebody the other day, it's like knowing something you never wanted to know. So with that knowledge in mind, whether or not Giselle felt like she was the aggressor or not, she's not going to be the same person that she may normally be. And I think Keiarna has to understand that. But I don't want to invalidate what Keiarna may be feeling, because I do think that it can be valid. But I can just tell you from personal experience, there is nothing like that. So, uh, girl, I'm sorry for you and your what happened to you. But right now, I'm dealing with a loss. And I
Mhm.
think people just have to really understand, when that happens, you don't even know yourself.
First of all, thank you for your transparency and for sharing that. We're sending you love because do understand. I mean, loss of anyone in your life, but a parent is, that's your tie to who you are, your most
Mhm.
immediate tie. And I feel like when you don't experience certain things, then the level of understanding is just going to be less. It's like the difference between sympathy and empathy. You can still feel really badly about what's happening, but like when you're empathizing with someone, you're going through those emotions as they've resonated with you.
Yeah.
Um, I look at it from I think neither one of them is wrong.
Right.
Neither one of them is wrong. And the problem is this was never a deep-seated friendship to begin with. So your understanding of how each other are going to move in times of crisis is just not there. So maybe, Keiarna feeling that way did have a lot to do with Giselle implying, or maybe just outright saying that she was a part of it. Now, as someone who was jumped as a teenager and seriously hurt, I do remember I kind of like I resonated with what Keiarna was saying, but when Giselle said what she said, I was like, Keiarna, baby, I think you just lost this argument because you're expecting something from someone and being so focused on this specific person for reasons that you may not even be 100% tapped in on. But she may not have also been in her right mind. When
Yeah.
I was jumped and like hurt in that way, I remember, and I was in high school, I remember walking into a conversation where this girl was holding court. The two girls that jumped me got expelled from the district. But this girl was holding court talking about how I deserved what happened to me. And one, she didn't know what she was talking about. Like, I literally didn't do, like, it was so unprompted that it took everybody by surprise because I was like, oh, so y'all just plotted this out.
Crazy.
And she said, she deserved it. She thinks, and it's always like, just say what somebody did. Okay. If I slept with your boyfriend, okay, and it wouldn't be an excuse, but like anytime someone starts something with, she thinks, like it's never an actual example of anything. You're
Right.
just a violent hater. So I like that's true. It's
Literally.
true. Yeah, so I like lost my entire mind and I was a pretty mild-tempered person. And I was like, you have no idea because it wasn't about the fact that I was hurt. It was that you were spinning this narrative that I was the aggressor, taking away the responsibility from the person who actually did the attack. And I think that that's like, pouring salt into an open wound. And that's
Mhm.
probably the reason why she was so sensitive about who was showing up and who wasn't, especially if that narrative was being spun that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just opened up a whole broader perspective on that. And I'm sorry that happened to you because that's insane. That's insane. I want to add something that there was a scene right after this that was probably one of the best scenes of this season where Tia, the new cast member, she comes in and she pulls them together and she says, listen, as someone who has lost their father, this is what Gizelle was probably going through, but she also validated what Keiarna was feeling. And she really did a good job of pulling them together. I'm not gonna lie, I cried during that scene because I was like, it was real. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like a reality TV show. That felt like I was watching something really happen. And I just thought it was magic. I thought it was complete magic.
I felt like it was such a and I agree. I think it was a teachable moment, but I also felt like everyone watching could resonate with what was happening in the moment.
Mhm.
Because I'm sure we've all had an experience where you're with a friend. Sorry, Christine R said, I lost my grandma in March and I literally died with her. Lost my job, stopped talking to everyone. I just couldn't deal. I did get a job 2 months ago and I'm just now feeling alive again. Christine, we are sending you so much love. People deal with grief in the best way that they know how. And I'm sending you so much love. I think that particular circumstance is an example of when you have a friend or, someone in your family and they come to you and say, this and this happened to me and you weren't there for me. And there's times where you're thinking like, well, I was dealing with this stuff over here and I was trying not to bleed all over you with what
Mhm.
was happening in my life, but now you're feeling this way, which is a valid way of feeling, but it also just ignores the fact that there might have been some things happening with me too. And
Yep.
is there a way to talk this out and get on a page about what's the way that I can show up for you in friendship and how I need you to show up for me? And if that's a barrier because now you are living a different version of yourself after a traumatic event, then maybe that's just the end of the season for that relationship. Maybe it can be revisited later. Maybe it can't.
Yeah. Or maybe it takes on a different form,
Mhm.
because I think you kind of need to modify. And sometimes you just don't know. You can't explain it until months later. Like, yeah, I really didn't know what I was experiencing and I didn't know how to express it. So I think you also have to give each other time.
Mhm. Totally, totally. And if time doesn't heal all wounds, then time will heal or at least give you a better understanding of yourself in this new chapter. And I
Yeah.
think growth in any direction is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful
Mhm.
thing. Let's get one more Real Housewives of Potomac. So, new newbie, Angel Massey. She seems to be struggling to find her footing this season. She reacts a lot to everything. What do you think about Angel as a housewife and the dynamic that she finds herself in?
You said she reacts to everything. I love it. Okay. Oh my God. Angel to me feels like a very, very a nice young lady. She
Mhm.
does. So I just don't know if the nice homegirl that I would want to go and have I would want to go out and have a drink with her. I would support her business. She seems like a nice, like round-the-way girl, but I need someone, I think sometimes a little delusional, a little that has a little bit of delusion of grandeur. I need a little bit of narcissism. I need just a little bit of, and granted, everybody on the cast can't be that way. You have to
Mhm.
have a balance of people. And so maybe we haven't tapped into that yet, but I feel like she almost feels too normal for this environment. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
girl, where's your crazy?
Mhm.
I need a little crazy because they're about to drive you crazy. And even that is not working out for you.
Mhm.
So, but I'm also not one of those types of people that says, let's throw the baby away with the bathwater, right? Let's at least give her another season to see if she is the right fit or not, or at least see what else she does. But right now, I just feel like she's kind of stepping in her own poop a little bit and she's not enjoying it.
Yeah, which makes it difficult for us as the audience to enjoy it. I know that she's getting the miserable edit. Now, is that what she is? And I say this like honestly, I think Angel is great. I think
Mhm.
I was really excited about her wellness service and
Mhm.
business. It's in Colorado. I'm in Colorado. Like, I would love to support that. I think the outdoors and
I love
yeah.
Colorado. My bad.
Yeah, you gotta come to Denver. Come hang
I
out
had an
with me.
internship out there. I loved it. Oh my God, it was the best.
Yes, I'm in Denver, and her husband played for the Broncos. We've been Broncos season ticket holders for 13 seasons at this point. So like I was just very much like very excited about her being on the show. But I think you're right. I think one, there's a few things going on that I'm seeing. One, she is a year and a half postpartum.
Mhm.
That's going to change. I mean, women go through postpartum for, 3 years sometimes. And so I think that that's an issue because it may not be who she's showing up as, may not be who she generally is when her hormones are more regulated. And I'm saying that in a very clinical sense, not in a shady sense.
Yeah.
But I also think that to have a wellness service, that's a level of groundedness that you're trying to stay attached to, and there's nothing grounding about this space. So I think her struggling to get her footing might be who she wants and needs to be versus who she's being called to be on this platform. I think there may be a bit of a conflict there. Now, the
Mhm.
other thing is she could potentially make a really great friend of. It would be a way to promote her business. She can support the girlies like she's used to being, a wag or head wag in charge,
Mhm.
type thing. It would be a way to keep her on without her having to be the center of things going on because I think that she's very sensitive to that energy where, other housewives will just kind of like shake it off.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And I think that would give her time to grow into this space if she even desires to do that.
Yeah, exactly, because she looked great on Watch What Happens
She
Live.
did.
She seemed lighter. I think she's starting to understand it, but the question remains like, everything's wrapped at this point. Now we'll see her at the reunion. We'll see what she's giving us, but right now we're like, I just pray for her. I'm like, girl, are you gonna make it through the episode? Is
Is
Bobby
she gonna
gonna
make
have
it
to
through
bring her down?
BravoCon?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She'll be a BravoCon. I'm excited. I hope I run into her because I do want to just give her a little encouragement. I think she could really use it. All right, informers, are you following us on our Patreon page? Tomorrow, Claudia and I are heading to BravoCon, and we've got so many things planned. But here's the thing, the best stuff will only drop on our Patreon page. So we're talking exclusive footage, backstage moments, extended interviews, and yes, a few, oops, did we say that? Moments that you won't see anywhere else. So make sure you're subscribed and ready because the BravoCon weekend is about to get accidentally informed. Richie, do you think that Karen and or Wendy will show up?
I think I've heard that Karen is showing up. I've also heard that Wendy may be showing up as well. It
Mhm.
wouldn't surprise me because Eddie has been making his appearances. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know how much dialogue we'll get from them, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them there.
Yeah. I hope that we get spottings of both. I think at this point, a spotting would be enough to kind
Mhm.
of like whet the palates of the audience. Also, a reminder that starting next week on November 19th, our live show is moving from 6 p.m. Eastern to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So we hope that this later time makes it easier for more of you to join us. So mark your calendars. We can't wait to see you there. DJ Richie Skye, thank you so much for filling in today. Where can the informers find, follow, and support you?
Everywhere at DJ Richie Skye, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all of those things.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to like promote coming up?
Yes, I have a trip coming up to Vietnam, and we have 5 more spots left. And just for the listeners, if you want to go, we have 2 extra $200 off spots, and just use code Richie200.
How many people do you generally have with you on these trips?
It can range from anywhere to a small group, like 5 to 6, up to about 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's exciting. That's exciting. I want to thank Bear Hudson for your super chat and message. You've inspired not only Black women everywhere, but my daughter too. One day while she was sick, she saw you on TV. I want to be like her. That moment touched me deeply. You are a light, Bear. Thank you so much. You have been so supportive across multiple platforms. So I really appreciate that, and send your daughter my love. Thank you, DJ Richie Skye. I know that we are doing a little content on Patreon. So informers, make sure you subscribe to the Patreon today. Thank you to all of you. Thanks for watching, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out. We'll see you next week at our new time. Thank you.
Put it on, girl. Let me see it. Put it on, girl. Let me see it.